Hello guys, hello everybody. I was waiting a little bit so our colleagues can join in. I would like to welcome you all and thank to the Romanian Coach Association for this opportunity to speak, to share my ideas with the coaches out there, especially with the coaches that are that are coaching in Romania and are having those younger groups, younger age groups. I will try to make this lecture to be useful for everybody that will be present, that will watch this presentation, and I hope that we will show you something useful for all of you. About the subject today, before talking about the subject, I would like to share a couple of things, couple of my thoughts about what is a team, because I think that should be useful and that should be the basis of all teams. Younger coaches need to understand, first of all, and then implement the values that they should teach. I think that the moral values are very important in every team, and I think that it's very important that all team members have the same goal. When we're talking about the team, we have team goals that we must clearly appoint to the players before the season, and we should all, players, coaches, staff members, all of us should have the same goals. Of course, it is very difficult to have a consensus about it, because all of the players are individuals and all of them have their own individual goals. So our job, our coach's job, is to make a balance out of all of this and to make sure that players will really accept the team goals and that will incorporate their individual goals into the team goals. I think, from my experience until now, I have faced many teams in 15 years of coaching until now. Everywhere, on whichever level I was coaching, it was the same things that we need to, let's say, apostrophe to the players, like to explain them that if accepting the roles on the team that the coaches will give, if willing to sacrifice sometimes the playing time or their personal stats for the better good of the team, for the cause of winning, for the cause of reaching the team goals, I think that if they understand that, and if they know that at the end there is a reward for them, that they will improve as a players, as persons, and that next year they will have the chance to go into a better club, or that next year they with the club that they are in will play into a better competition, or they will sign a better contract. I think that it's very important to know why they are sacrificing and why they should buy into these team goals and all of this that the coaches are saying. So that is one thing that I would like to share, especially with the younger coaches that are coaching their teams. Try to implement those individual goals into the team goal in every season. When we are talking about the subject today, when I'm thinking about basketball, when we are creating practice drills or scouting opponents, or when we are creating game plans for the game, me and my coaching staff, we are always thinking about the game, about the whole game as a whole, as a circle. Like, we start from the defense, we go from the defense into defensive rebounding. Then when we get the ball, we would like to open the fast break. If we have a numbers advantage, that's great, and we try to score from it with exact corridors of running and exact way how to attack in 2-on-1, in 3-on-2, in 4-on-3, or in 5-on-4 situations. And if there is no numbers advantage, we go to the secondary break. Many go to the motion offense or to running pick and rolls or to some kind of continuity play where they will try to create an advantage, and out of that advantage, after that, to score the basketball. After those transition offense, we are thinking about our set offense and the set plays that we are trying to score from, the set plays that we are trying to, let's say, attack our opponent where he is weaker, or try to emphasize our strengths and attack to somebody that that is good at something. When we are thinking after the set offense, it is very important that after our shots, that should be good shots. When we say good shots, open, spot-up shots, high percentage shots. And after that, we have offensive rebounding, and the balance of how many players go for offensive rebound and how many players, and how we are running back into defensive transition. So that is like a circle that we are covering all the main segments of the game. Of course, in every one of those segments, there are sub-segments where we are also paying close attention. Saying about the team goals, and about those thoughts about how we want to play our game. Next, I would like to talk about our subject of scouting. Scouting, the meaning of the word scouting is not only scouting of our opponents. I would like to explain first for the younger coaches, or for the coaches that are creating teams now, how we are doing scouting of the players. So for us, the scouting starts even now. Now, when we have this break, especially, and usually when the seasons end, we are trying to build the roster. While we are thinking about creation of the roster, while we have some players that have stayed from the seasons before, that have contracts, we are usually in a situation here in Astana to hire new players, especially the foreign players. Here we have 6 players, allowed 6 players, foreign players. And usually, like this happened last season, and this year, I guess it will happen again. When the foreigners here play good, usually some better teams are approaching them after the season, and then we are forced to look for other new players. So when we are talking about the scouting of the players, we have a lot of players now in our books sent by the agents, or some of those that we've been following throughout the season. And we have maybe 200 or 300 names, and we are starting slowly our scouting process. What that means? First of all, knowing the level of the league that we are playing, VTB League now is maybe we can say that is the second league in Europe after the ACB, not counting the EuroLeague, Eurocup. I think that we have 3 participants of EuroLeague: CSKA, Khimki, and Zenit. We have 2 Eurocup participants. We have Unix Kazan and Lokomotiv Kuban, Krasnodar. We have also Champions League teams like Nizhny Novgorod, Eurocup team, FIBA Eurocup team in the Yenisei Krasnoyarsk, and all the other teams like Zelena Gora, Kalev, Tallinn, Astana are champions of their own countries. So it's a hell of a competition. It's high-level players, high-level coaching, and if it requires really good selection of players, and it requires serious work in every game to make at least to make a victory. In any game, it's a battle, a home or away, doesn't matter the opponent. It's really tough to win. So that's what's pushing us. That's what's giving us the edge to try and every year to get better players, and then to coach the best possible way that we can, and then to approach games the best possible way, and to prepare for them, and then try to grow. So when we're talking about the scouting of players, first we want to know anthropometrically and physically, are they adequate, are they suitable to play for this level. For example, point guards are required to be 185 centimeters or higher. 2-position players like 195, 3-position players 2 meters and above, 4-position players like 205, 5-position players need to be like above that. And it's not only about the centimeters, it's also about the wingspan, it's about how they play. Sometimes they can be shorter, but they can play higher. So it's very important, first of all, about those elements anthropometrically, and then physical abilities. After that, we are checking where they played until now, what kind of stats do they have. We have certain statistical parameters that are required in order to be considered to play for us. For example, we will never take a big guy, however good he is, we will never take a big guy that is shooting free throws 50 or under 50% accuracy. So we will never take, for example, a shooting guard that will shoot under 35% for three. So there are many parameters that we are using in the process of selection, and statistical parameter is the second one. If the players are adequate in the height, the length, the weight, and the strength, and then the statistical parameters, then we are going to the next phase. We are checking them on the synergy program, where it's allowed. It's really convenient, and it allows us to check many parts of his game: defensively, offensively, transition, habits, pull-up jumpers, three-point jump. So name it. Every category is there, and our third, let's say, filter for selecting is the synergy. If the player is acceptable, after that we are then going towards the fourth parameter, which is full games. We are watching at least 4 or 5 full games against opponents that we are thinking that they are high quality, that they are good enough quality, so we can compare the levels. And also we are looking for habits of play, for would that player be adequate for our system. If on the full games we like what we see, then we approach with finding and checking his background, talking to people that we know, that we trust, and then at the end I'm talking personally with them and trying to explain without exaggerating, without making it look good for them. We are trying to be very realistic and open with the players and agree with them how we want to play, how we want to use him. Will him like the role that we are giving him? So if that conversation goes through, then we are going towards the contract negotiation, which our president of the club after that is working on. So this was about the scouting of the players that we want to hire. Now I will start talking more about the subject, about the scouting of the opponents and the game plans that we are creating. We will try here to show you how we are working, and in short clips with the video editing with my assistant Marko Veličković, we will try to show you how we are working and how we are giving the game plan instructions before the game, what happened on the game, did that work, and how much of it was implemented on the game, and then on the auto scouting meeting after the game, how we are instructing the players what they have done good, what they have done wrong, and how to correct it. So we have more methods. Now we will mention some of those methods. The first one is that, for example, if we play on a Saturday, we are starting to prepare for the opponent. In these 2 years, we had the luxury, let's say, that we were playing in the VTB League Saturday, or we had like 7 days to prepare for the opponent, because we were pretty dominant in the domestic championship, and the games that were in the middle of the week against domestic league teams were not required to prepare for them so much. So we were using even those games to prepare the tactics for the next opponent in the VTB League. The first part, let's say Tuesday, we are Tuesday and Wednesday, we are trying to practice things that we will use for the game on Saturday, but we are not instructing the players because we don't want to bother them with too much information. So we are using the practices to create good habits for the elements that we will require on the game, but we are not telling to the players too much about it. From 3 days before the game, for example, let's say Thursday in the morning, we are creating 2 groups. One group who is in the video session in the office with me, and the other group is with the assistant coaches, and they are, let's say, making an individual practice without the contact on the elements that we are needing. For example, the guards, if we expect that on that Saturday we play with CSKA Moscow and that they will play a hard shell defense, the guards are shooting out of the drills which require defensive dribble and then attacking. The big guys are setting screens and short rolling or slipping the screen. Whatever we are thinking that we are going to play, we are actually practicing it on the individual practices in the morning. The other group in the locker room or in the office, having a 30-minute, not more, 30-minute meeting with video session, where we are explaining the individual qualities of the opponent players. So first we are giving them a paper. This paper is a paper that they get in a PDF file on their email addresses, so they can read it like 1-2 days before. And then we are giving them in a hard copy on the meeting on paper, so they can have it in their laps while I'm talking and while we are presenting the opponents. So for example, here you see, this is from our last game when we play against Kalev Tallinn, and here you see all of their players. You can see here, for example, number 40, Martin Pasoya. You can see here how many minutes he is playing by average. You can see how many points. You can see with red here is the percentages for 2, and why it is with the red. Everything that we think that is not so good is highlighted with red, so the players can see that. And everything that we think is really good, it's with green, so highlighted with green. Players, it's easier for our players to understand and to catch with the eyes, because you know, some players are more careful, some players pay more attention, some players are not having so much focus, so we need to really use our time in order those informations that we really need stay in their heads. So after giving them all this, we have this for every player. We can now give an example, for example, on Vinales, what we have written here. We have said a good pick and roll player, he sees everything on the court, he isn't selfish, he likes to pass. He is a good shooter after dribble for 2 points, better for 2 than for 3. Also, if he goes inside the 3-point line, he would like to use more penetration all the way, then pull-up jumper. And we are saying this to the players so they will know in one-on-one situations what to expect. His shot release is a little bit lower than usual, and he needs some time to set the shot up, to launch the shot. So that's why we are saying this to our players. What else we have? On one-on-one situations, he is using a lot of dribbles with changing of the rhythm, changing of the pace, not being explosive. And he is using a lot of hesitation dribble and then a crossover dribble from the right to the left. So we have analyzed and see that most of his moves are crossover right to the left, or when he is having the ball in his left hand, he's like to shoot more out of a step back move or out of a step side move. So all of this we have written and players are reading it, and now we are showing them on video. So for every player, we are showing them a video. Marco will now show you the video. For example, for Vinales, we are preparing, we are doing this for every player. Now this is Vinales. So you can see here, here is a situation where he plays the pick and roll. He is not using it, and then he is going one-on-one. You saw hesitation, step back, all the way. Here, you see, he get the ball on a handoff, It's a hard show defense against him. You saw that crossover from the right to the left and creating the advantage like that. You see here what we said, that the mid-range is not great. You see here again the crossover from right to left. Here you see hard show defense, and then he stops. Jab, he likes to play one-on-one more than playing the pick and roll. So what we say to our players, when he's playing the pick and roll, don't switch. We have instructions to the players not to switch because he is better in playing one-on-one than finding solution out of the pick and rolls. You see here, our idea was to push him inside, to drown him with the 5 when he played the pick with the 5, and we were doing a show defense, hard show defense with the 4. So this is the offensive part. Let's say this is the offensive part of his game, and we are also trying to find weaknesses in his defensive game. So is he good one-on-one defense? Does he have weaknesses in the low post defense? Does he have how he defends screens, pick and roll situations? So what we have seen for Kyle Vinales here. Let's go with the video. You see here, closeout situations. He jumped on a fake and didn't get back into the game. Here he helped too much from the first pass. Okay. Here he went under on this pick and roll. Then he was beaten with a crossover all the way. He didn't box out the big. You see no aggression on the ball. He is too far away. Here he was supposed to switch on the big, but he didn't do that good. So what we are trying to say here is that we are finding weaknesses in his defense. So we are showing this to our players and saying to them, giving them instructions. We have a play called Pac-Man, and we have 2 screens, and then we are playing into a pick and roll. Let's put Vinales defend this play. So these are the examples of the individual coverage of the individual qualities of the players. We have, as we did for Vinales, and we go into maybe into more and more details for the main players, less details maybe for the 10, 11, 12 players, the ones that we are not suspecting to play so much, but we have to know about every player in the roster, what they can do. After we cover the individual qualities of the players, usually in the evening practices, before the evening practices, the whole team gathers on a meeting, and we are talking about the opponents, mainly about the opponent's offense. So how they can hurt us, how would they attack us, and how can we use weaknesses that they have, for example, in their low post defense or in their pick and roll defense. So we have categories that we are covering and in which we are trying to find holes where we can attack and win that game. So, for example, we will show you now, again, we give all this data on the players' email addresses. They have it in email. And we also give them like papers like this when they are on the meeting, so they can have it. Practically, we make for the players, we bombard the players with informations, so even if they don't want, they will have to learn them. So the table of context of this scouting report is, first of all, transition. How they are creating offense out of their defense. Do they have some fast break options, and then do they have secondary break like transition? Here we can see they have L, and we have all this drawn. You will see here we have the sets, the main sets that they're using. So you see here it's like 15 sets, which we coaches know. We know them. We know exactly every play, and we are trying for the players to know only the plays that we will select. This will be 4, 5, maybe up to 8 plays. When we are playing with opponents that have a lot of plays and that they are using them, and you see here we are showing them. We've been we have written them in a fast draw program. Marco is doing this. So you see, slow down, Marco. You see here, for example, the play 2. The 2, and we have a description here. This is our fist side. We have the same play, so it's easier for the players to memorize when they have the same play. So they have their 2, our fist side. So what's the idea here? One is receiving a screen from the 4, and they are doing a dribble handoff between 1 and 2. After the handoff, 2 is using the screen of 5 and trying to go to the middle and attack all the way, jump shot for 2, or find the roller, or find whoever is helping. They are doing this good, especially Vinales. When they are doing that handoff between Sok and Vinales, or between Skele and Vinales, these are players of Kalev, they are creating disadvantages. So, as you see, we have described their play, and here we have written with red how we will defend it specifically. We have our general rules and principles for anything that we will not recognize on the game. We know how we are defending the pick with the 5, the pick with the 4, one-on-one situations, from where we rotate, from which situation we are trapping the low post or playing one-on-one. So we have covered everything, but those selected plays we are defending specifically. What that means? It can be against our rules, but we have determined that when they call that play, we will recognize, we will call it also, and we will try to disrupt it, to break it. So this is what we are trying here. Look at this. We are writing defense, the X4, our position of defensive players, we are always marking with the X. X4 plays defense 1, that's a one-step show. The guy will go here, we will go over the screen. On that handoff, we will jump, switch, and side. That's our terminology, how we will switch. We will switch and prevent the ball handler to go to the middle. So we will stop him and push him to the side where our big man is waiting, because their big man is not a great shooter. So even if they pass to the big, that is not a big threat for us. So we have decided that calculated risk will be if the big man shoots, but we will not allow the main player to go to the middle and create advantage from that. So now when we are seeing all of this, we go. We will show Marco now on the video. So now we are showing to the players in the meeting how they are doing this against other teams. So let's go. So in this clip, you have this against Yenisei. You see that handoff, and they want to go to the middle. They find the pass to the shooter. They made a 3. Again, handoff between 1 and 2. Vinales use the pick, pass, feed the post. They play the post. Here another situation against Zenit. Handoff, pick, stop. He is making a hard show. They are passing the ball and trying to create advantage. Let's go. So they're a good shooting team. They're all shooting good, and they're all attacking good closeouts. So we don't want them to do that. We don't want them to create advantages and move the ball. Look at this here, how they're moving the ball, how they're swinging it. Okay, so this is what they are trying to do. And then we are instructing the players, and after this video, we are trying, and we are exactly playing this opponent's play on the practice the way that we want to defend. So we are stopping it. Usually we are doing a 5-on-5 in the half court, and with one fast break or without fast break, depending how many repetitions we want. And we are trying to make, let's say, 7 out of 10 successful defenses on the practice. So we are doing this Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday is the game. So at least 2 practices where they're actually doing this on the court. So let's see how now our team did this successfully. Of course, there were situations where we failed, where we didn't do that good, but I will show you that in the auto scouting and after the game. Let's see now what we did on the game. So the same play, stop Marco, the same handoff, but now our players are jump switching and siding. Let's go. You see here, Florence doing that. Go. They passing to the big, which is a non-shooter. We want that. We are disrupting the handoff. And now the ball goes, this is out of their play. They're trying to find the continuation. which will be successful for them. But we have agreed that in those type of situations, on their best player, best offensive player, we are doing a hard show. So now our big, who is, let's say, not often playing this type of defense, but we have instructed to play only on this offensive player, is doing a successful job and doing a hard show defense. Our weak side, last guy, is controlling the paint until our big guy recovers. And I think we have a successful defense here with stealing the ball on an attempt to pass to the roller. Let's see. Yes. You see here. So now it's a slow motion. You can see it better. Again, jump switch, side. We are not letting them go to the middle. They pass. We don't let the handoff. We go over. We disrupt the handoff. Now we can receive hard show on the best player. They pass the ball. Stop. Last guy is feeling this, trying to control. Ball flies. Our big is returning. We are stealing the ball. So this was a successful play, and when we do this, when I see this on the auto scouting, I must compliment my players and I must say that this is a great defense and it was successful. Let's go to the next situation like this. This didn't happen once. This happened more times. Same thing you see here. Now our players are more aggressive. They're trying to steal the ball. Again, disrupted play, and Vinales is trying to create by himself. You see, shot clock is running down, one-on-one, good defense, box out everybody, we're getting the rebound. Third situation, similar, stop, jump switch here again, let's go. They pass to the big, let's see, yes, and calculated risk shot. We want them to shoot this, okay? So let's go now. So this is one example of a play, how we have detected where the strengths are, what we want to prevent, and what we can live by if they make or they don't. So this is one example. That was 2 up. We can show you 2 more examples of the plays that they were trying to use and we were defending specifically. This is a 2-side play. This is a diamond double exit where the 3 or the 2 can receive the ball, and then they play immediate pick, usually with the 5, and then they pass back. Usually that's a slip or a fake pick. Then they pass back to the 1 at the top, and then they play a pick and pop situation with a guy that is a really great shooter, Christian Kitzing. So he can set the screen and pop, he can slip the screen and pop, and then a good player on the ball like Vinales is using those. Even Sok, they're using good these opportunities. So what our idea was here, first of all, when they will go here with playing the 2 and the 5, we will try to cut them off from the middle, side them, and make the 5 pop. And then he will be forced to receive the ball, and then we will disrupt their play and avoid their idea to play the pick between 1 and 4, but they will be forced to play something else, or at least disrupt their timing to do so. So that's the idea. Now let's see what was happening on the video before the game, how they are playing this against the opponents, and how we defended it on the game. 2-side is the name of the play. This is against Yenisei. The first situation here is you see, that's it, okay. They passed to the 4 because they denied the pass to the 1, and they have automatic response handoff here, okay. Let's go. This was a disrupted play also. Here we have similar situation against Zenit. You see here, he went all the way because the defense was not good. Here also, he used that down screen to go to the end. Here is a situation example against us. Let's show. In this situation, you see here, Yoesar is creating a bit of an advantage with Hill, with our 3-position player, and because he is late, he is doing something that we don't want to see so much when you're guarding a shooter. He is cheating over the screen. We don't like that, but in this situation, he catch his man because he was late, And now we want not to let the pass back and play pick with the 4. We want to push them to the side and make the 5 pop and disrupt their play. Let's see what's happening. Side defense. Yes. Stop. So now their 5 has the ball where we want him to. Not a pass to 1, not a pick and pop with Kitsing, the best shooting 4, but a pass to Kangur, who again we have calculated and let him shoot for 3. Let's go. So they play pick with the 5 instead of with the 4. Stop. You see here, because it's Vinales, we are doing a hard show with Ristic. Let's go. Successful defense. Now slow motion. We can see here. Shot clock going down. Now, the situation, what I explained to you before, even the shot clock is not, it's under 8 seconds, where many teams, we also usually switch. Our recommendations not to switch against Vinales. Ristic is doing the good job and not switching, but doing a hard show. So even if it's 3.8, he's not switching because there he would be vulnerable. Let's go. And we are stealing the ball. Okay, this is enough because we are using a lot of time. Yes. So let's go to the next play, horns, and I will explain our defense on that specific play. So this is a play, the third play that we have prepared. This is, they are calling horns, but it's actually not a horns. It's a down stagger screen for the point guard for Vinales, and then he plays a running pick and pop situation with their shooting 4. So again, you see, point guard, let's say Sok has the ball here. They're receiving the ball. Vinales receiving the ball here, and this guy can be the 5, can be the 4. If the 5, usually short roll or a roll. If the 4, he can pop. So again, we are saying how we want to defend it. And here I would like to explain that on this play, it was instructed to our players. It is very important not to be hit in the screen, to face the screen and push Vinales down. And then the responsibilities would be free throw line and down the big guy, free throw line and up our guard. If the penetrator, Vinales, would go all the way, our big guy must stop him, but our guard must do a vertical switch and going in front of the big guy. Weak side, last guy need to get involved because we have 1 against 5. They need to get involved and collect the rebound. You will see now this on the video. It's very important, the technique of the defending of the screens. You will see the guards first, how they are playing against other teams, what we show to our players before the game. Here you see pick and pop with Kitsing, 3-point shot. He is usually making them with 40-45% accuracy. So here he was making a changing angle screen in the last moment, so the hard show will not be effective, so Vinales can go all the way. Here is a slip, you see, 2 guys slip. And then if you make a mistake on the slip, they know how to use this. Now it's on the how we are defending. Now it's how we are defending. So stop a little bit, Marco. Here you see this stance. You have a regular stance where you can follow the shooting guard, or you can try to block his passage to the ball. But we are doing this only, we call this top lock. We are doing this on down screens, but only when the screener is a non-shooting big. If the screener is a shooting big, it's difficult to play this because he can pop out and they can punish you inside. You see, here Holt is playing top lock against Vinales, and he is in a good position not to be late when the pick and roll situation will happen. Let's go. Here the screen is coming. Let's go. Stop. It's very important that our player was not hit on the screen. You see how he faced the screen, inside shoulder, not letting them screen, but avoiding that contact. And even being late, he knows that this player will help him, and he knows that the borderline of responsibilities is the free throw line. So he have the time until the free throw line to catch him. If he re-establishes his position, we are all good. If he don't re-establish the position, if he Vinales goes all the way, that's a switch. Big guy gotta stop Vinales, and our guard need to go into the big to box him up. Let's see what happens. Exactly, you see, our big is stopping the ball. Our guard is going to box out the big. Let's go, and it's a turnover. Next situation, or this is a slow motion. Same, you see here, avoiding the screen, candies up, not letting the shot. Everybody else is active with their hands. They can be more active with the hands. Now pay attention about the defense of Florence, how he is trying to sneak behind the back of the shooting guard of Vinales, so they will not be able to set a screen on him, so he will not be able to be late. Let's go. You see here, look how he is avoiding the screens. He is very aggressive. Go. No screen. Go. Free throw line. He stopped at the free throw line, re-established his position. Ristic is fading away. Let's go again. They return again to pick. Again, avoiding the screen. Ristic controlling free throw line and down, thinking about the roller, not letting the roller be in a lower level than him, but seeing both of them in front of him. Let's go. And now we have successfully defended the pick. Vinales didn't shoot, but passed the ball. We didn't have a pass to the roller. They were forced to pass to 45 degrees, where we have our three-position player contesting the shot with closing the middle and not letting them with having an open spot-up shot. Stop. After this, we have a face to the body, initiating contact, and then boxing out and getting the rebound. It's very important. You see box out, you see face box out. Let's go. You see that box out and how we get the rebound. Okay. So these are the elements we showed you on 3 sets. We showed you on 3 sets what we are trying to do. Now we will show you how we are detecting the problems in their defense and how we are trying to find and use those holes that we are finding and how it worked on our game. So general things that we are covering is low post, one-on-one from the perimeter, pick and roll defense on the top or on the side, or what we call outside picks, which we are using usually on 60 degrees. Now we will show you top pick and roll defense and how they like to defend. This is contained defense, which we call blue. You see they are vulnerable going all the way if you seal the big. You see, if you seal the big, it can go all the way. Their bigs are not greatest shot blockers. Also, if the penetrating guard is good in finishing in contact, he can do that. And if the screen is good, we can always have a shot. Always have a shot for 2. You see here, Alexei Shved, who is maybe the best shooter in Europe now, and this defense allows him to shoot the ball. So if the big guy holds the screen, we have a shot. This is of course a calculated risk which their coach have calculated. Some people are saying that this jump shot between the 3-point and the free throw line is slowly dying, but when defenses are defending you in this way, you must be able to make it. Now, the second option, when somebody starts to hurt them too much, or they think that somebody is more dangerous, a bigger threat than everybody else, they are doing the hard show. They are trying to make the dribbler make a defensive dribble at least, or pass the ball away. Let's see. You see here, they're more aggressive, although Starks still had the opportunity to shoot. Here on Hackanson, you see here, this is a situation where you see they're going under there to catch the drive. Okay. Now look at this situation. I'll go. Stop. So if they do aggressive hard show, and we can see that we can find a short roll pass to the big. This year we've been doing this a lot when teams were doing this against us, because our big was Ristic was good in catching the ball and finding the next pass. spacing and the timing must be perfect in order this to work. So look what's happening here. Smoky means finding that short roll. Mirkovic is a great passer. He finds that short roll pass, and Gavrilovic has the ball at the free throw elbow area. So stop. So now they have the last guy need to cover that, and we have this guy that needs to rotate. So usually what happens is that this player will, without dribbling the ball, have to make a decision. Will this pass be here for the dunk, or will this pass here be for the three-point shot? So we detected that they have problems in defending this situation, and we try to implement in our sets, or from the sets that we have, to get this situation and do it as much as we can on the game to have easy dunks or easy three-point shots. So now we will continue, of course, and we will go to our game to show how we have tried to use this. So the first part, which I was saying, when they are in blue defense, when they're in contained defense, how we are setting the screen and using this for a shot. And the second part, when they will play hard shot. Let's go. Our play, Pac-Man. This is our shooter. Good screen. This is clean shot for him. See? Outside pick. Stop. Blue defense. Our big is a good shooter. We give him to shoot this. Let's go. Okay. Missed here. Again. Now handoff between the guards. And we know that the last guy is helping too much. So our point guard, Florence, get instructions before the game where to expect that the defense will be and where should he look for the passes. So you will see now we are trying with that handoff to make them be a little bit late. And then stop. We are using that the last guy is under the basket. They are all preventing the pass to Ristic. And now we have a direct pass to our shooter. Go. Stop. We have this shot. We can have here. This is, for me, this is an advantage. We can have a shot. We can attack the closeout. Okay, let's go. Same play. Let's go. Okay. So you see here, just a minute. Here was a situation where we forced them to switch, but our four-position player, Crockett, didn't recognize this and didn't put the ball down to Ristic. Let's go. But we had a mismatch. We had something that we want. Let's go. So now we go to a different set. This is L2. This is our set L2. Gave the opportunity for our guard to shoot. Okay. Now, again, they're contained defense all the way. What we said that they are not good shot blockers. And now it starts, stop a little bit, Marco. Now it starts their hard shot defense. They are more aggressive on the ball because we made some shots. We went all the way a couple of times. Now on this player, Hill, they're doing the hard shot. So our ideas now are trying to, are the ones that we are trying to put the ball down on short roll and have a 4-on-3 in the weak side. Let's go. Let's see what's happened here. You see, good pass, stop. You see, good pass. This was a pretty solid situation for our big. He had a pass to this guy and he had a pass to this guy, but he judged that he should go all the way. He was fouled. Go. Next play. Let's go. Similar. Stop. You see, they were very high on the ball handler. We rolled on the empty side. We have tried to liberate this empty side with a movement up, so there will not be a last guy. Last guy was late and made a foul on an attempt for a dunk of our four-position player. Let's go. Okay. Here, another situation. Let's go, go, go. Stop, and go. Stop. So now, they were doing the hard show. Our big sealing the recovering big man. Because he is late, our big is sealing him, and we are attacking the closeout. Nobody there to help, because usually the big should help. Now the last guy has too much area to cover in order to stop the drive of our guard. You see what will happen now? Look at this example now. What we showed previously. Pass, go, 3-point. They are very aggressive here, you see. Look at this. Oh, no. Okay. So that was the part about the holes that they have in defense and how we are attacking them. Some of them were successful, some of them not. Unfortunately, we lost this game. The main reason was we missed a lot of open shots and we let them get offensive rebounds in important moments of the game, and they won that game. Regardless of winning or losing the game, in my opinion, it's very important to have a post-game meeting where in a video analysis we will show to the players what they did good and what they didn't do good. Not what good and what bad, but hold them accountable for what we have agreed before. So when we scouted the opponent and when we created the game plan, we have agreed to do certain things. And we all know precisely what our responsibilities are. So when we are watching the post-game video analysis, especially when we are winning, sometimes people think that when you are winning, there is no need to watch. I think that that's the best moments to watch because everybody's in a good, they're feeling good and they're accepting remarks and criticism much easier than after a lost game. After a lost game can be tension, can be painful, can be sometimes too much criticism, can be insulting for some players. But the main part of all this is when we are trying to correct the players, to not hurt them, not to humiliate them, not to show how ignorant they are or how much they have made mistakes, but to help ourselves, our team, ourselves as a group, and to not let their self-confidence go down, but appoint them, explain to them where they were wrong, hold them strongly accountable, but then do everything in your power on practices and on the games after to really help them play with the highest possible self-confidence, because that's only the way to win games and to be successful. And that's the essence of everything that we are doing. We need to do everything successfully together. So I will just show you very quickly, very shortly, couple of situations. We usually are putting the whole game to run, and I'm addressing the players whatever is coming. Of course, first of all, we coaches are watching the game a couple of times, then I know where are the mistakes, who made the mistake, and then it's easier for me to address the players and to explain them what they have done wrong and how they should have reacted and all of that. So let's just show a couple of examples of that. This is our final part. For example, here is our offense. We are playing our offense 4. We are moving the ball, and idea is to put the ball down to the big. Okay, this is a successful play. He received the ball and he scored. Although we can have this offensive rebound faster here and more aggressive. Now here you can see, stop. The timing is disrupted because this guy is defending in deny our big, so our big should have done a better job in going into his player and receiving the ball on time. So when we will swing it here, the screen of this player towards this player will be while the ball is with this player. So it's very important the moment and where the ball is for the execution of the screens. This is what we call timing for the younger colleagues, for the younger coaches to understand. It's very important spacing, where you are on the court, and the timing, what you're doing, where, when. Let's go. Stop. So you see what happened. Florence, our point guard, he's supposed to make a screen on the 3-position player. He saw that the ball is still in his hands, and he made a fake movement and stopped, didn't set the screen. He waited for the ball to go here so he can set the screen and be effective, so we will have the angle to the pass. Let's go. You see a good screen. stop. They receive the ball here, and now we have an advantage, and they will help with the big, and we have our 4 space out. He's a good shooter, and we find him for an open shot. Let's go. This is transition. When we run the first trailer, then the second trailer. In my system, ball need to go on 45. First trailer need to run both sides. Second trailer need to run here also. If we have a pass in a numbers advantage, we score. If not, we can continue into a motion offense with swing the ball, pick and roll, continuation. Let's go. Second trailer here, big advantage. We finish. Here is some play. This is horns. They went under, he shoot the ball. Here we say to him, okay, that's a good shot that we want him to take. Here is the previous situation where we have created good. Here is a similar situation like this 4. Here again, problems in receiving the ball. Timing is okay here on the screen. Let's go. Stop, and now we have the continuation. What I say to our players here, he can stop closer and earlier to the basket and seal better. Those screens here can be lower, so this player cannot defend in front. So Ristic should be already here, lower, and then Florence coming out would be having an open shot. But our screens, our positioning of the screens is not good, and that's why he's catching us. Let's go. And now we are playing pick and roll, where we are playing it far away. They switch, and we have a shot overhand in the last second, which is not so good. Here is a situation where where we play the outside pick. So, okay, Marco. So the main thing is that now I showed you more examples. We are stopping on one example and explaining to the player that we need to explain and what was the thing that he should have done better. For example, I would stop that player and I would say, to the big guy, hey, you should have been lower, you should have set the screen, you should have waited for that screen, push your man inside and then come out, then be in a triple threat position on the 3-point line, not that far away, things like that. So the same thing we are doing also for the defense. So we can, let's say we can explain 1 or 2 situations in defense. For example, here I would say we have a pressure on the ball. But when we pressure the ball here, the 4 position player is doing a good job, denying his man and pressuring, but the 5 is letting a pass too easy. He should have done a little bit of a better job to lift this player up to receive the ball higher. But okay, now we are going on the handoffs. Now, stop. It's a pick with the 4. 4 is a dangerous shooter, so we are doing a one-step show, and we need to go under that screen. Yep, they are doing that. Let's go. Stop. Now, what we have here is a one-on-one situation. He's beating us one-on-one, and we are making a foul. That's one-on-one defense. That's a problem. Now we have a baseline stagger. You see how our wing player didn't close the stagger. He should have closed the stagger and make the player go from this side and then play side defense on this game. But he let him use the stagger here, and then he was late. After him being late, he was forced to cheat. Let's go. Stop. Now, we insist on going with this player. So going with this player, not going in front here. Okay, our player was late, and he is what we call cheating. So he cheated, and the response of the offense should be flare, pass, and an open shot. The offense didn't do that because the player didn't react great. But anyway, this is a defense, and I say to our player, you shouldn't have done this. This is not good defense. So let's go in the next situation. He receives the ball, stop. Now, when his man received the ball, we have agreed previously that he should side here, close the middle. He didn't close the middle. And now, when he didn't close the middle, we have option how to save this situation. So we always say we should close the middle, we play side, but if he beats you by any chance to the middle, we are playing blue and we will do the contained defense with the vertical switch. So he actually done the option B that we want. We want to side, and we say that this is a mistake, but even in making a mistake, we will try to rescue ourselves and not receive a basket. So this is what happened here. Our big stopped, and he rotated to the big. Let's go. Okay. So these are the examples. I think that all of this that I have presented is a little bit hard to present in 1 hour, but I try to explain to you our way of work in the best possible way, so all different type of coaches can understand. High-level coaches, younger groups coaches. So, for example, if younger groups coaches want to prepare for an opponent, want to scout opponent, they don't have to do all this with all these programs, but they need to do at least show to the players and give to the players informations, and then coach them and prepare them for the games and see the effects of it, because it will help them, help the team win and help the players grow, because the intention of the young team coaches is to produce players for the seniors, and we need prepared players tactically, especially when the players will make 15, 16 years and they are becoming older. They need to know this stuff, they need to know tactics, they need to get into the senior level teams without being surprised, without thinking that everything is new for them. Because if we analyze, the greatest players didn't come to play on 22, 23 years old. The greatest players started playing in senior level on 18. Look at Luka Doncic, look at, I don't know, Toni Kukoc, Dražen Petrovic. All these players that were the greatest players started playing in the senior level very early, but they were prepared for it. So I would recommend to the young coaches to do and give to their players as much information as the players can receive, and always challenge them, give them a little bit more, but always do it with a good intention, and always do it with respecting the moral values. Because first of all, we all working in the sport have responsibility to be spreading the goodness, the good moral values, the right things to do. We need to be example of the societies that we live in. So guys, this was our presentation. This is, here I will try to show you my right hand, the guy that is doing all of this, Marko Veličković. So he was the one that prepared most of this. I just did the talking part. So any of you now have any questions, I will be here for a while to answer any questions. I will try to see if there is any question here that is concerning what I've been saying. Let me see. There are some questions in Romanian, I guess. How would you? This is a good question, Stefan Odea. How would you schedule the scouting if you play games at 3 days? So all of this is actually done when we are playing on 3 days. But what I explained before is that the games that we are playing in the domestic championship are not against so good opponents like in the VTB League. Like, quality is not the same, and that we are using also that game to prepare. But anyway, for example, if you play on a Wednesday, against opponent. Our Marko, especially with this year with Borche, the Skalovski, together, they were doing the scouting. For example, if we play on Saturday, CSKA Moscow, and on Wednesday we are playing the Tobol from Kazakhstan. On Sunday, I already have the papers and the ready scouting for Tobol. While I am preparing all of this work with the players, they are already working for the next opponent. So when the game against Tobol on Wednesday will finish, on Thursday morning, I have all the documents, I have all the videos, and then from the Thursday evening, we are already starting to work. So we have Thursday morning or Thursday evening, depending when we will start. Then we have Friday morning, then we have Friday evening. So we have 3 chances for meetings, which is enough. On the first meeting, we will cover the individual qualities. On the second meeting, we will cover the scouting of the opponent's offense and defense. And on the third meeting, usually I'm using to make a small interactive talk with the players to see how much they have learned, how much they have understand. So I'm talking on the meeting, and in some moment from nowhere, I will ask our 4-position player, hey, Sasha, how we are defending this situation? And I see in those moments, I catch them, did they pay attention? Did they read this that we sent them on the mail? Did they know the answers? They are all really good quality professionals, and I can say that they are all very professional about it, because they are paying attention, and they know that this stuff will help them on the game, and usually the answers are right. So 2 or 3 meetings are enough, and 2 days are enough to make this preparation for the game. Also, what I didn't mention, that in the locker room we are usually giving them we are putting on the wall like a A4 format printed papers. So some general rules for that game, like stop transition, or don't shoot rushed shots, because we need to control the tempo against Avtodor Saratov away. They are playing great fast break, and if you shoot rush shots, they're killing you in the transition. So these locker room, we say posters, and where we also put on the walls the sets of the opponents, where again players can remind themselves. So this is also an opportunity for the team to see the sets. And also game day shoot around. Game day shoot around is moments where you can show to your players again the game plan with walkthrough. You can put colors, 2 teams, and on half court move them like in chess, and to explain them the technique of how to defend usual screens or whatever you want to show them. So that's one more opportunity to implement the game plan before the game. I hope that answer was satisfactory. Let me see some other question. Here is an interesting question. Laura Lungu, how do we prepare our junior teams, let's say under 15, if they have 3 important games, Friday night, Saturday morning, and Saturday night? Okay, so on this level, under 15, and when you are playing the games Friday, Saturday morning, and Saturday night, it is very important to think, first of all, about the physical preparedness of your players and the freshness that you will need to maintain in order to play these 3 games with the highest possible quality. Here is very important the physical aspect, first of all. So the physical aspect needs to be how deep is your roster, how many quality players you have, and how quality are those opponents, and where on which game you can disperse the disperse the minutes of your players on the court. So for example, if on the first game you play with a weaker opponent, you can play more of your players regardless of the score. If you think you will win, I don't know, more with 6-7 players, you win less, but with more players, so your players will be fresh for the Saturday morning or the Saturday night. So this is a little bit prioritizing the strengths, prioritizing the physical aspect. And about the scouting of the opponents and about the tactical part of this, in this specific situation, when you have 3 games in 2 days, you must rely on your general rules and principles more than on the scouting. But you will make adjustments, smaller adjustments in the general principles for the game. So for example, if the team on Friday have a big guy that is shooting, you will not play contained defense on the pick and roll. But you will, on the next game tomorrow, if the big guy is a non-shooter, you can play this different type of defense, this contained defense. So for example, small adjustments in the general rules and the principles. You will not have the time to do this, and also this is not even appropriate to do for kids under 15. This, what we are doing here, is complex scouting, and it's more suitable for the seniors. For the younger groups, you will try to give less information and focus more on your game, and just give small adjustments for best player, best strengths and weaknesses of the opponent, and that's it. Mainly about the individual characteristics of the players, of the opponent players. Let's see, do we have something else interesting? Christian Krachun, what do you recommend for a coach of under 17, under 18 team to do on scouting? Do we have to go as deep as you show? Plays individual players, or we will scout just basic principles of offense and defense? This is also a good question, because now it's on you. How serious is your team? 18-year-old players already understand, already are physically good. If you are, let's say, a program where you have a lot of practices, everyday practices, you have players that are gifted individually and tactically, you can go deeper. Of course, this is the highest level VTB league and all, but you can do this shorter. You can do this, instead of showing 10 plays, you can show them 3 plays. Instead of showing every player individual characteristic, you can show only for the main 2 players individual characteristics. So you can make all of this shorter and more simple for the players to understand, but still you will help them if you, for example, how many times you have played against an opponent where they are creating you problems, and you know that if you knew this before time, they would not create those problems. So that will help you see what are the strengths of that team, try to detect where is the main thing that will hurt you, and try to prevent that. Like, see how much effect does that have on the end result. I think that under 15, under 16 is more about themselves, more about development of the individual characteristic, individual qualities, technical qualities. Under 18 are already going into the tactics, because they must know how to screen, how to come out of screens, how to choose, how to read. The main thing is not to think on the game, but to read and react. The players must react. If they are thinking on the game, that's a problem. That will be a mess. So it's very important that you don't give them too much information, so they will not start thinking too much. So enough information, as much as your players can absorb, as much as will be beneficial for them. Then Johan, speaking of player selection in the summer, if we are looking for an American player who's a rookie, just finished college, are there any other parameters that you look for, different from the ones you mentioned in the beginning? Yes. So if you are thinking about hiring American player, and if you have on the offer a rookie, the main part is to understand that not all universities, not all leagues in America are at the same level. You need to know which level. You have NCAA 1, NCAA 2, NCAA 3, you have NAIA, you have JUCO, you have many leagues. So where he played, and in those leagues, for example, in NCAA 1, you have 300 and something universities. So you need to know which universities are producing, are playing at a higher level, which conference, under which coach is using what kind of system. For example, Syracuse and Jim Bohannon playing a lot of zone. So his players that are graduating from there are usually playing good in a zone defense, but they need time to adjust in my principles in man-to-man. So you need to go deeper into where they played, what type of competition, and then the social aspect. You must get a feeling what type of kid that is, because finishing college, that's a kid that was in the States, usually never went out of the States. He's young. It's in the States, the conditions in the universities are great. Everything is flashy. It is the best arenas. It's the best restaurants. In the universities are providing them great conditions. So when they come to Europe, they can be a little bit shocked. They are living for the first time their country. They will be forced to live by themselves in an apartment. They might know how to cook or not. They need to eat. They need to eat good food in order to practice good. So all these aspects are important to know and to feel them while you're talking to the player before you're hiring. Are they mature enough? Will they, in some moment, while it's Christmas, while they're sick, while some problem happens in their families in the States, will they want to, feel homesick and want to leave the club? So all these things you must try to control, cover. You cannot control, but you can feel and then get a feeling of what type of a person you are getting. So I think that aspect is very important when hiring a rookie. Let me see if then Kalanchea. I am a strong supporter of scouting. What do you think about the opinion of older coaches? I don't believe in keeping statistics. The only stat that matters is the final score. I respect everybody's opinion. I respect the opinion of every coach. For me, there are no old and young coaches. There are not good and bad. There are not old and young players. It's only coaches and players that are good and ready to sacrifice and work a lot in order to create a good result. So the sentence that you have said here, I don't believe in keeping statistics. If some coach say this, it's not serious. It's not serious, and it's not the level of a serious coach cannot say this. So I'm sorry, but maybe in some lower levels, in some younger groups, but even then you cannot say this. I think it's very important to at least live with your team, follow their progress, and the progress you can follow only through statistics, through something that is measurable. You must measure, not only through the score. You need to know how much your big players was rebounding. You can see this only from statistics. I don't know. You can see how good of a defense you played. You can see how much deflections you had. So I don't agree with that. Let's see, do we have something else? Željko Bubanja. Hello, Željko. How to help a player which is one of the better ones in the duration of the season, and in one moment he will lose his self-confidence. What to do and return him in a good level, in a good shape? This is something that happens a lot. It happens a lot in real basketball, and it's a really good question, because I have this every year with 3-4 players for sure. Very important is the character of the player, what type of person he is, and your relation with him. So you will know what type of approach will trigger him back, let's say. What I said earlier, it's very important that the self-confidence is high. And what Željko say here, that when the, let's say, player has a shooting slump, he's not making shot in 4 games in a row, and he lost his self-confidence. It's very important not to pressure that player. In my opinion, psychological approach is that he should put in the actual work to correct whatever is missing, for example, shooting, but not push the player. For example, if it's shooting, if it's something that is technical, like shooting, like passing, like finding solutions on the pick and roll, we cannot press the players and kill them for not doing the right thing. In my approach, I will talk a lot with them, and I will try to explain them that they are doing so many other stuff good. For example, if he's playing great defense, if he's hustling, if he's going for loose balls, if he's rebounding, I will tell him all these things. When we are watching video, I will show how he's diving for a ball. And I will say, hey, you know what, guys? I don't care that he's missing the three-point shot. Look what he's doing good for us. He's going for the loose balls. He's getting rebounds. Look how he's switching here. He's a hell of a player. That's why we are winning. So we'll lift that player up. We will raise his self-confidence. And then when it will come the part of the shooting, he will think, hell, I can miss, but I'm doing so many stuff good. So coach is not mad. My players are not mad. So I'm going to do this. And hell, I'm going to make it eventually. So this is the approach that I am using and usually is working. Also, we have some drills. We have some things that we are doing with our coaches. For example, our assistant Sasha Todorovsky is doing this. For example, when we want to focus better on the game, to shoot better, he is doing these drills of visualization alone with them in the gym, like to make them have this focus on that part of the game which is a problem for the player. For example, free throws or a three-point shot or whatever, that is helping also. Okay, 1 hour and 20 until now. Let's have a couple of more questions and then we will be forced to finish. For example, bottom here, coach, when you choose a player for next season, what is the most important characteristic for any position that you are looking for? I tried to explain about this question. I tried to explain that it's not one characteristic, but it's the sublimation of all of them. But if you want me to say one or two, I will say that the most important thing, the player that you're scouting, is what kind of a man he is. Is he a character of a man that you would like to see in your team? For example, I want them to be guys that are civilized, have manners, that are hardworking, that are not finding excuses, alibis, that are taking the blame on them, that want to take responsibility in important moments, that the guys that are high moral values. For me, this is the most important thing. Then, of course, all the other basketball characteristics, like the level of the game. Can he play on this level with all this, which we said before, anthropometrical, physical qualities, technical, tactical, and all of that. I think that the character is the base, the essence. Okay, let's see what else. Hi, coach. When you are losing many games in the row, how you maintain and motivated and professional? You do adjustments to your system or you keeping the same way? Honestly, I don't know. I always win. I'm joking. Usually we are trying to. Usually we are trying to do some adjustments, and of course, the main part is to influence the confidence, not let the confidence of the team go down. That's the main part that we are trying. Of course, we are trying to find the sources of why we lost those games and try to affect them, try to correct whatever needs to be corrected. And then, you can do everything good sometimes. You can prepare, you can coach, but then at the end, some ball will go in or will go out, lucky shot will go in or out. But when I say you need to earn your luck, so do everything you can, prepare and work hard, and then at the end, even the basketball gods will give you that piece of luck that you needed some games. Okay, guys, I think that these are all the questions that I see here. So it was a pleasure talking to you. I hope that I helped to most of you with some way, with some idea, with some sentence. I hope that we will have a chance to meet in the future, and if we meet, I hope to have opinions from you also. So thank you very much, and till the next time.